All right, let's jump right into this. Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're unpacking some seriously fascinating and honestly highly counterintuitive philosophies on surviving and actually thriving in our rapidly changing world. We're looking directly at the mindset of Jack Ma, the founder of Alibaba, and how he views the future, technology, and what it really takes to succeed. If you've ever felt completely overwhelmed by the crazy pace of innovation, or maybe stressed out about where your career is heading, well, you are going to want to pay close attention. We're breaking down his core arguments step by step, and it all starts with challenging the very foundation of how we look at tomorrow. So, let me just ask you, why are you worried about the future? I mean, it's a completely natural human response, right? We all fear the unknown, especially with massive things like cloud computing, big data, and artificial intelligence just rushing right toward us. But in the source material we're looking at today, Jack Ma immediately challenges this anxiety. He points out a rather blunt truth. He says that when you worry about the future, it is very often simply a sign that you lack confidence, and more importantly, you lack imagination. We might not have the solutions for the future right this second, but he firmly believes that our young people absolutely do. And this brings up a brilliant paradox, because think about it. Who's actually doing all the worrying? Spoiler alert, according to Ma, it's not the youth. The people tossing and turning at night are the older, highly successful individuals. And why? Well, because they have money. They have existing technology that they are absolutely terrified of losing. But for young people, or hey, anyone starting from scratch, kind of like he did 18 years ago with no money and no tech, you have absolutely nothing to lose. And when you have nothing to lose, the future isn't a threat. It is purely an opportunity. You have total freedom to embrace new technology, while all the successful people are just busy resisting it. So the big takeaway here is stop stressing over massive global macroeconomic problems. Honestly, Jack Ma's advice on this is incredibly blunt. He basically says, do not worry about the things that presidents and prime ministers worry about. If you don't focus on yourself, you're going to end up carrying the weight of the entire world on your shoulders. So leave worrying about the world to leaders like Putin or to massive global corporations. Your job is to worry about your own world. Focus entirely on when you graduate, how you're going to make a living, and how you can do something that is unique, fun, and actually helpful to other people. Okay, moving on to Section 1, History of Tech Panics. And really, why panic is just a pattern. Seriously, history practically screams at us not to panic. Think back to the first major technological revolution, the steam machine. People were absolutely terrified. They were like, oh my gosh, the steam machine is going to take away all our jobs. But 50 years later, the steam machine had created infinitely more jobs than it ever replaced. And then, the exact same pattern repeated when electricity was introduced. Companies panicked, but electricity ended up creating countless new industries. Now, obviously, we're facing artificial intelligence. Matt acknowledges the reality here. Yes, over the next 20 to 30 years, AI will cause job losses and major disruption. It's going to be a painful short period, for sure. But long-term, it is going to create massive job opportunities. It's not about stopping the tech, it's about surviving that transition period. Which brings us to Section 2. The unbeatable human advantage, or how to actually win against machines. Look, there is a super clear contrast between raw computing power and, well, us, humanity. If we try to compete with machines purely on their terms, we are going to lose, period. Machines might be stronger than us, they might run faster, they definitely have a way better memory, and they can calculate at speeds we literally can't even comprehend. But machines can never ever be as wise as human beings. Why? Because we have belief, we have religion, we have a heart. Machines don't. Wisdom and heart are the unbeatable human advantages. Because of that unbeatable advantage, Ma outlines a really actionable framework for overhauling how we approach education and personal development. To survive AI, you literally cannot follow yesterday's way of learning and teaching. If you try to memorize things harder, the computer will beat you. If you try to calculate faster, the computer is going to beat you. Instead, every single thing you learn has to be filtered through this new lens. Does this make me more creative? Does this make me more innovative? Does it make me more constructive? If the answer is yes, do it. That is how you future-proof yourself. All right, Section 3, the contrarian idea filter. This is all about thinking differently. Now, this is probably one of the most unusual, but honestly most fascinating business philosophies you will ever hear. Ma describes his early days at his company. An idea would land on his desk, right? He'd look around the room, and if everybody agreed that it was a great idea, he would normally just throw it straight into the rubbish bin. Actually, wait, think about that for a second. Why on earth would you trash a great idea? Because if everybody already agrees it's a good idea, then all the other people out in the world are already thinking of it too. Consensus just means a crowded market. Instead, you've got to bypass those easy, popular ideas and deliberately pick up the incredibly tough questions that nobody else wants to touch. And that brings us to this defining quote. If everybody say this is going to be very tough, I'm very interested in that tough question. He's literally hunting for friction. He wants the exact problems that make other people just throw their hands up and give up. By focusing on the really difficult challenges, you force yourself to ask, okay, how can we do this in a completely different way? And that is absolutely crucial if you want to differentiate yourself and be truly unique. Section 4. The price of tomorrow. Because, as we know, nothing is free. 867. What exactly is that number? Well, to put that into perspective, that is the staggering amount of hours Jack Ma spent physically sitting on airplanes in a single year. He was traveling, grinding away in the air, while his team worked relentlessly on the ground. I mean, that is over 36 full 24-hour days just in transit. It's a pretty stark reminder that immense, world-changing success, it requires immense, almost unbelievable personal sacrifice. You know, people look at a massive giant like Alibaba today and go, wow, they got so lucky. And sure, Ma concedes they were lucky, but he strongly emphasizes that they worked much, much harder than most people. In fact, over 18 years, they worked day and night to the point where they condensed what would normally be 70 years of average company work into just 18. They didn't sleep well. They didn't sleep soundly. They forced an incredible compression of time and effort to build their future. Because this path is so intensely difficult, you kind of have to develop a ruthless level of practicality. I mean, when asked if he ever cried during those grueling 18 years of building an internet business in China, Ma's answer was just simple, no. Because crying doesn't make any sense. It doesn't actually solve the problem. He even jokes that if crying actually helped, he would literally cry every single day. So instead of crying over the pressure, you channel that energy outward. Make your competitors cry. And hey, we really need to remember this. Formal education, your bachelor's, your PhD, that's just the warm-up. Ma makes this great point that a diploma is really just a piece of paper proving your parents paid tuition for 4 years. The day you graduate from school, you are merely at the starting line of your true career of learning. The real, rigorous training starts the second you leave college. The real exam, the ultimate test, is life itself. Which brings us to arguably the most powerful and definitely the most challenging quote of this entire philosophy. Today is very tough, tomorrow is more tougher. The day of tomorrow is beautiful, but most people die tomorrow evening. It's just a profound metaphor for perseverance. Think about it. Most people can handle today. Many can even handle the escalating difficulties of tomorrow. But right before the breakthrough, literally right before that beautiful day after tomorrow, most people just give up. They quit. They die tomorrow evening. So the thought I want to leave you with today is this. As technology shifts and the future rushes right at you, are you going to throw your ideas in the rubbish when things get too hard and quit tomorrow evening? Or are you going to do things differently, push through the toughest questions, and actually survive to see the beauty of the future?